And the golden flies are military rewards, not usually associated with a woman. So it's possible that Queen Ahotep served not only as kind of the regent during a time of the king's minority, but also, was a powerful precursor to later on Pharaoh Hatshepsut, the female who comes to be actually Pharaoh. And you see the priests here kneeling down and making the offerings and saying the ritual, the lector priest, the Herichem. And in front of them, a son, probably. But it's without our inscriptions here, it's all missing. It's been hacked out, looted. And every single scoop you see out of here is looting. So this is where looters have brought in saws. First they chisel around, and then they literally cut the scene out and then sell it on the art market. So you can see this one, they were in the middle of cutting it out, the same process, but they didn't get to it. They didn't finish that one. They would have gone on to this one and taken the whole tomb. Have you been able to identify the location of any art market or museums?
Actually, thanks to Spiegelberg's quizzes that he took before the tomb was heavily robbed. And so far we have found 3 fragments.
Oh, wonderful.
One in the Metropolitan Museum in New York.
Big surprise.
Big surprise.
A second one in University College London. And 2 weeks ago, a member of my team found a 3rd fragment in Glasgow. I saw this fragment, and the label was Deir al-Bahari. So sometimes Egyptologists are not as good as they pretend to be. And here we have like his local titles that link him with the area of Hermopolis. And there is one very interesting thing. I don't know if you have been in Alberta. Well, near Hassan, there is a cemetery very important for Middle Kingdom of what they wanted to enjoy in life, in afterlife. But actually, this list was first written at the opposite wall. Originally, the hand of Yehudi was approaching the offering table.
Oh, wow.
But then he changed his mind and wanted to have the funerals next to his shaft, and the menu was moved there. So he changed the decorative program.
So they put mud on put mud on the walls, and then it's just, you can see here, smooth mud, and then they paint right on it while it's wet. So it's like a fresco technique. And they're shown in front of the tomb. So this is an image of a tomb with a pyramid top, with the door jambs inscribed just the way I showed you outside, and a little pyramid top. Remember, pyramids at this point are no longer for pharaohs, they're used for commoners. So the mummies were held up after mummification in their coffins in front of the tomb by priests, and then the mourning women come and they're putting dirt on their head and crying and wailing. But then we have a lot of hieratic cursive inscriptions, and so this cursive inscription names this person as a Wab priest named Tamoza. So like they're writing in who these people are or things about them. The third, Amenhotep III and his wife Queen T. Remember Queen T?
Yeah.
Yes.
And these are the parents of Akhenaten. So this guy, Amenemhotep, was a priest in the cult of Amenhotep III. So it's substantial time after. We see the king and the queen not as people, but you see they're on a base of wood, and they're being dragged on sleds, led by ropes, right? So we see how statues like this are brought into the temple. This is King Nebhepet Re Mentuhotep II of the 11th dynasty. So we have an 11th dynasty king here, an 18th dynasty king here, depicted in a 19th dynasty tomb. So if you ask, well, were the Egyptians aware of their own history? Yes, they were, and they depicted these early pharaohs. Let's look at this wall. You see Amenhotep III and his wife, Queen T, and they don't look anything like their actual portraits, because in the Ramesside times, instead, his features take on the look of Ramses II, because art trumps history. You know, they'll always do it in the style of the reigning king, and she looks totally weird.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like T, and the physical proportions. So we would never see this, and you know, you might wonder, how as Egyptologists do you know if it says Amenhotep III? How do we know, and T, that it's not from their time period? Because the art style is as clear as if it were, you know, a 19th century painting versus an 18th century painting. You know? And Amenemhotep, it's hard to say, and his wife. And look, they haven't even finished doing her wig. The faces are just color outlines, and this shows you exactly the process. First, you do the color in zones, right? And then you paint the details, like the eyes, and put in things like the necklaces. You could see from this one to this one. Then the bracelets, then more details on the dress. Then you're supposed to put in the lines for the hieroglyphs here. And what they're doing here is writing what the hieroglyphs are supposed to be, right? And then you paint that over with like maybe some blue paint or fill it in. So there are little notes sometimes about what it's supposed to say. Yeah, Amenhotep was an Egyptian sent to be governor of Nubia, the king's son of Kush, as they called it back then. So here's Hui shown in front of the pharaoh. And this should be Tutankhamun here. And look what happened to his names. Removed, because he was considered, you can see just to see part of Amen here. And so what happened is, it's either, it may be Amenhotep III actually depiction, because the Amun at the top makes me think that. But no, it's Tutankhamun, because there's the Neb Khepurura, that's the remaining bit. So it's Tut. This is Tutankhamun shown as a full reigning pharaoh, but his depiction's destroyed, because I think they attacked the depiction and the hieroglyphs. Please show us the rest.
So you see them right here. Look, you have two different skin tones, and then you have the feather over the hair and the hairstyle. The facial features are very well depicted, showing them with their ethnicity. And look at the dresses, the bright colors on the belts. They're holding in their hands offerings of gold, rings of gold over there, and gold dusts.
And her hairstyle and her feather fan, but she's part of a retinue of high elite Nubians. And we know they're high elite because the prince of Aniba, these princes at the front, and these other very rich people, they're all wearing gold, they're bringing gold, but then their servants and retainers are behind them, including, you know, the bare-breasted lady with a very long dress. And look at her little boy or child, rather, in the cradle board in the back in a basket.
Yeah.